Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, everyone is comfortable? Okay. Once upon a time, in a village called Siddhashram, there lived a very, very pious gentleman. His name is Kapila. Since his very birth, he was very devoted to Lord Vishnu, Lord Hari. He had spent a lot of time getting knowledge of the scriptures from saintly personalities, from teachers. His parents were also, both his mother and his father, had also dedicated their lives to leading a very pious life. And that they had trained their son accordingly. Very kind hearted, sincere at his work, hardworking, loved by all the members of the society, the community that he lived in. Everyone liked him very much. He was very helpful, soft spoken, always had some kind words and words of encouragement for others. So likable person, just like most of you are. Every one of you is very likable. Your neighbors love you. The people at your workplace, they like you. You always have kind words of appreciation for them. Just as is your personality, very pious personality, so was Kapila. Since he lived in a village, every day in the morning, he'd go to the temple. That may not be possible for some of you. Every day morning to go to the temple of Lord Vishnu. Is it possible? Hello?
It is possible. We have temples nearby, so we can go.
So it is possible. Some of us may not find the time to do that. It's perfectly all right. Kapila did not have to work 9 to 5 like most of us do. So every day in the morning, he would visit the temple quite early in the morning. Somehow he was convinced. Early morning, I should go and be present for the morning darshan of the Lord. Since his birth, he was convinced that they take attendance there at the temple. So he felt he was duty bound. Somewhere along the lines, growing up, he developed an affinity for visiting the temple. And in the evening, after he finished his work, he would again go to the temple, do some services there. As a young man, he got married to a wonderful lady. And both of them, as husband and wife, they lived a very, very happy and pious. They had a very happy and pious way of living. They lived happily. So Kapila would always carry articles of worship to the temple. Sometimes he would bring along with him some aguru sticks, what we call as incense, agarbatti. He would take that along with him from his home. Always he would carry a lamp and wicks and oil. He'd always carry that with him. And every day he would light a lamp for the deity of the Lord. At home also he would do it, but especially at the temple he would do that. Very soon he got very much involved with the management of the temple. It was not a very big temple. With the management means he became one of the main caretakers of the temple. So he practically became the worshipper there, the priest. But he would still go out and work during the day, make a living, and morning and evenings he would come and worship or perform some kind of worship. Without fail, every single day he would light a lamp in the morning and in the evening, especially in the evenings. Early morning, when it was still dark, before sunrise, he would light a lamp for the Lord. And in the evening, after sunset, he would light a lamp. And it was his practice that every year, during the month of Kartik, which is this present month is the month of Kartik, he would specially in the evenings stay over and keep the lamps lit for a long amount of time, like for hours together. So he'd spend his entire evening every single day in Kartik keeping the lamp lit in front of the deity form of Lord Hari, Lord Vishnu. And in the month of Kartik, he would also come and make nice food offerings, bhoga, naivedya. He would make such offerings to the deity. Different kinds of sweets. His wife would make it at home and both of them would come to the temple and he would make the offering along with his wife. And he would keep the offerings of sweets in front of the deity. And then for a couple of hours, he would stay there singing nice glories of the Lord, kirtan, various bhajans, songs glorifying the Lord. And he would keep the lamp always lit. Most of the times his wife would also stay with him, but sometimes, occasionally, very occasionally, she would have to go back and take care of some household needs. After one or two praharas, maybe let's say about 2 to 3 hours, having spent time in the evening in the month of Kartik, then he would go back home. But he would leave the lamp, the oil lamp, he would leave it shining brightly in front of the Lord. Then he'll go home and take rest. Every day after, or every evening after he would leave, a bunch of mice would come into the temple. They used to live right next to the temple, in the temple grounds. So a bunch of mice would come scampering inside the temple. They would come up to the Garbhagriha, the sanctum sanctorum. They would come up to the altar. And crumbs of the offerings, there would be crumbs of the sweet offerings that had fallen off onto the altar or in front of the deity, near the deity's feet. They'd come to eat it. So during Kartik, Kapila along with his wife would make nice offerings to the deity, keep the lamp lighted. Now in the light of the lamp, the mice would come. The altar was all lit up. You would find crumbs there. They would eat those crumbs. And since the mice were coming into the temple, there came a cat. A cat would also regularly visit the temple. And what would the cat do? It would jump on the mice, catch them and eat them. So every day, 3 various species were happy. One was the human species, because making sweet offerings, go home, take nice prasad. Shakra Pongal every day. Every day in Kartik. The mice were happy because they would get the crumbs. Whatever little crumbs had fallen off. And the cat was happy because it would get mice. Now there was a huge colony of mice. So every day a few of them would be eaten up by the cat, the rest would escape. Every single day in the month of Kartik, this would happen. Every single evening. One day, Kapila told his wife that today I'm going to stay awake the entire night and keep the lamp lit in front of the Lord. Jagran. You know what is Jagran? So some of us, we do it because sometimes we become very eccentric, There's some kind of madness that dawns upon one. Oh, tonight I'll stay the whole night. I'll stay up. So sometimes it is we, sometimes it is our brother, some other time it is our sister, some other time it is some other relative, some other time it is somebody unknown. So there is one temple, there is one deity. There's a community of people that have faith in that deity. But the whole community doesn't come in unison, does not come together to do Jagran. Without any plan or having devised a plan amongst themselves, it just happens that a few members of that community decide at X point of time they want to go into the temple and do Jagran. They want to stay awake the entire night and sing bhajans for the deity or keep lamps lit for the deity. And at Y time, they are not there. There are some other members of the community. But there is one person that has to stay awake throughout. Because whoever comes, that person has to stay awake throughout. And that is Lord Krishna, Lord Hari. And no one is concerned about whether he is awake or not. Everyone is thinking about, oh, I did Jagran. When I was 12 years old, I did Jagran on every Ekadashi in the month of Kartik, both the Ekadashis. But when I was 13, 14, 15 years old, I did not do it. But some other 12-year-old came there. And Lord Vishnu has to stand there and be awake. Every year, every single day, whoever decides to do an all-night vigil at the temple, the one person that has to comply is Lord Hari, Lord Vishnu. Hence, in our scriptures, we say that he is very merciful. He never ever takes a vacation. The only time he has a vacation is when the temple is empty. Since no one is coming for the night vigil, he says, all right, tonight I can sleep. Otherwise, no vacation for him. So on Kartik Shukla Ekadashi, on the 11th day of the waxing moon phase, the 11th night, in the month of Kartik, he decided to do an all-night vigil at the temple and keep the lamp lit throughout the night, right from sunset to sunrise. Now, till the time he is there, the mice cannot come in. If the mice don't come, the cat cannot come in. So on Ekadashi, only one species got the benefit. The other two species are not getting any. They had to starve, basically. So Kartik night, sunset onwards, very enthusiastically, he lights a lamp for the Lord. He makes an offering, food offering to the Lord, sits there, chants the holy names, does some bhajan. For a couple of hours, his wife is there along with him. Then she goes back. She goes and takes rest because she has so many chores the next day. He decides to stay. A couple of hours before midnight, a very wonderful guest visits him. All of you may be aware of that guest. In fact, right now, some of you may be being paid a visit by that guest. Right now, sleep. So a couple of hours before midnight, there is a very welcome guest that comes. But for Kapila, it is not welcome. For Kapila, it is an unwelcome guest. So slowly he starts feeling drowsy. His eyes start closing, starts nodding off. In the beginning, it was a few seconds of nodding away into sleep. But then the duration slowly started increasing. From a few seconds, it went into a couple of minutes. And by the time it is midnight, his head completely falling onto one of his shoulders. He was in deep sleep, but he was still sitting. As I said, some of us may also experience it right now. We'll also go through that experience. Some of us. So you're sitting, nodding off, and he was asleep he was into sleep, in the sleep zone for almost 10-15 minutes. That is when the mice came in. Because the mice were always on the lookout. Looking for an opportune moment. They would come in a little bit and suddenly they would see him move, so they would run back. But midnight, they came in slowly, carefully. There was no movement from him, from Kapila. They realized that now they are safe. So they scamper into the temple. Behind them comes the cat. So as of yet, the mice have not reached the altar. So they're not engrossed in collecting all the food, eating it. So their senses are very alert. So as soon as the cat jumps in, all the mice run away. But they are so soft-footed. They do not make any sound. The mice run away. The cat also goes back into its hiding place. Kapila is still in sleep. One female mouse. Sometimes it seems you are very brave, but it could just be foolishness. So one female mouse, she goes all the way up to the altar. And today there are no crumbs. There are complete platefuls of nice sweet offerings there. So she is very excited. In her excitement, she doesn't understand where to start. She's like going round and round the plate, wondering, should I begin here or should I begin from the other side? Because everything is so enticing. Every single offering, from wherever she looks onto the plate, it seems as if it's Chaurasta. It looks as if it's Dairy Queen. Very attractive. So as she's trying to figure out where to start, she gently hits against the oil lamp. Just touches the oil lamp that was lit there. Now Kapila had gone off to sleep for quite some time. The nature of an oil lamp is that if you are not careful, then after some time, slowly the flame reduces, isn't it? So as the flame was reducing, she was finding it more and more difficult to figure out where she has to begin eating from the plate. And when she hits the oil lamp, the flame bursts into full glory again. Because when she hits the lamp, the oil moves slightly in the lamp. The wick gets more fuel and the flame bursts. It becomes very bright. Now the mouse, the female mouse who had come there, the cat was generally used to a lot of mice coming in. So the cat also missed out on the mouse. So when the flame burst, It was reignited. The cat saw the mouse. The cat jumped in very eagerly. When the cat jumped in, the cat jumped onto Kapil, brushed past Kapil. The female mouse immediately realized that the cat is there. She ran off. Kapil felt something scurrying, running over his lap, just beside his legs. And all of a sudden, the brightness of the lamp hit his closed eyelids. Immediately, he woke up. And as soon as he woke up, he picked up from where he had fallen off to sleep. So, as he was chanting, Hare Krishna, and he went off to sleep. So, when he woke up, he immediately picked up from where he had left off. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. For him, his brain was stuck at what he was doing before he went off to sleep, and it went into continuum as soon as he woke up. Has that ever happened to you? You decide that today is some special occasion, if you're chanting Hare Krishna or if you're doing some mantra upasana, and the upasana is for, let's say, 2 or 3 hours. Has it ever happened to you, like you fall asleep? Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Mur. Because you've been doing it repeatedly, right? Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Om. And then somebody wakes you up, you're like, Namo Narayana. You pick up from there. Why does that happen? Generally, the reason is our ego. Because as soon as we get woken up and we continue off from where we had left off, we continue from where we have left off, our ego is trying to tell us that people should not notice that I am inattentive. Because it's not good, right? If the people around us, they realize how inattentive we can be, or how lazy we are in our upasana, in our sadhana, then we lose quite a few subscribers, right? And we don't want to lose such subscribers in our life. We want everyone to feel that we are a very holy person. It feels nice that in our community, in our family, we are known as someone who's very pious, someone who's very religious. And we may have our challenges being very religious, very pious, we may have that. But it is very difficult to own up to it, that we have those challenges. It is very easy to keep up the facade, to keep up that pretense. It is just our training, right from school, that is our training. How many of you have been through an experience of an oral exam, what is called as a viva? Now, you wouldn't want the examiner to know that you're not prepared. So when the examiner asks you a question and it is very hazy, the answer is very hazy, then the typical response is, and that, sir, madam, just, and then they help you out. Okay, this, exactly, yes, that. And they're waiting for you to continue after that, but you're like, and. So they've also been students, They've also had this training. They immediately understand. Okay, give them grace marks. They give you grace marks. Isn't it? At home, we don't want to let people know that we are not responsible. Did you bring that? I was almost there, but then I received this really urgent call. It did not happen like that. But it's not easy to own up, is it? Our ego will not allow us to do that. Because this ego of ours, it helps us feel that we are important in this world. And very unfortunate situation that this life of pretense, slowly, year after year, it completely overcomes us. Hence, it is important to have spiritual understanding. Because the pretense that we are trying to keep up is related to this body. Every night when we sleep, we forget who we are. We have absolutely no understanding of what our status is. The 6 hours that we are asleep, 8 hours we are asleep, we forget we are man, we are woman, we are child, we are old, we are young, we are good, we are bad, whatever. Every night this happens. And we wake up and life still goes on. But the time that is spent being aware of our existence as this material body, time of wakefulness, that has so much impact on our consciousness that we are not able to analyze that every day. The idea of me being someone as XYZ becomes a zero when I go off to sleep. All of my ego simply is useless in keeping up that pretense. So in sleep, I'm actually who I am without the idea of me being of a particular gender or of a particular community or of a particular status. I'm actually in that as I am, that state. But unfortunately, one cannot be aware of it. One has no awareness of it. And if we do not have awareness of our existence as who I am originally, even in the wakeful state, so actually the wakeful state is also a sleep state. It's just with open eyes. Because even in the wakeful state, one is not aware of who one is. The only difference between the sleep state and in the wakeful state is that in the sleep state, we do not take on more and more coverings of this egoistic existence. That is the only difference. Whereas in the wakeful state, we try to accumulate more and more layers of our ego, ahankar. And what kind of ego is this? False ego. Oh, I'm a very good driver. I follow all the traffic laws, and then a cop car pulls you over and they show you, they tell you, do you know what speed you are going? Yeah, 60. Sorry, you're on a 35 mph zone. Oh, I did not realize. I'm so sorry. Why don't you tell the cop that actually I'm a very good driver? I follow the traffic laws. Because all the layers of that ego simply dissipates in the presence of authority. Somebody that can pull you up. That is why we have so much problem with authorities. Because that is the only situation where we realize we are vulnerable. What do we do? Spiritual knowledge is the only means by which one can try and be safe, free from unwanted ego. Not just knowledge, spiritual knowledge. What is spiritual knowledge? Spiritual knowledge is that growing up, I had the ego of being the best student at school. Then, as a young man, young woman, I had the ego of being a very good go getter. Spiritual knowledge teaches you that you are spirit, you are not matter. You are not the young student, neither are you the go getter. You are that I. The I that felt that I am a young student and the I that feels that I am a young man or a young woman right now. You are that I. That I. That aham. Without karoti, aham karoti, that aham, that I-ness, when it is in the understanding of aham Brahma and not aham karoti. If you think that aham karoti, then it becomes ahankara. I am the doer. Karoti means do. Aham means I. Aham karoti ahankara. Aham Brahma. I am eternal. I am part and parcel of Krishna, the supreme, eternal. So spiritual knowledge, just as everyone knows math, 29 plus 33. Correct. Really? 29 plus 33. It's close to 30, right? 29 is close to 30, 33 is close to 30, so 30 plus 30 must be 60. It has to be in the 60s. Vedic math. They teach you things like that, isn't it? Or typically we'll go according to the English way of how they teach us math. 9 plus 3 to carry 1. But what is Vedic math? Vedic math teaches you all right. 29, what is round figure closest to? 33, what is the round figure it is closest to? So the answer has to be accordingly, right? 62, correct? So simple, we got it right now. Do you think sometimes we can make mistakes while doing this calculation occasionally? It's possible, right? It's possible. If you're in a hurry, if there are too many numbers, we make mistakes, right? But if you're always careful, would you make mistakes? If you're always careful, if you're always conservative, conserving the knowledge that you have accumulated, achieved, the possibility of mistakes reduces. So if you always conserve the knowledge that I am spirit, whether you're eating, whether you're walking, whether you're talking, whether you're working, whether you're dreaming, if you can conserve the idea of I am spirit, aham Brahma, the possibility of making the mistake which leads to false ego, ahankara, reduces. But if you only do it 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, the chances of making mistakes increases. We need the vision that Knowledge gives you vision. Knowledge gives you the understanding. It is your mental eye that helps you in the calculation of 29 plus 33. That is what knowledge does. It gives you mental eyesight. It allows your mind to see things, to analyze, to calculate. Spiritual knowledge also gives you those eyes. So every day there has to be a practice. One has to every single day, it is called as Tri Sandhya. At least 3 times a day, remember that I am spirit soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. So there are two kinds of ignorances or ajnana. One is ignorance in sleep, and the other is ignorance in wakefulness. In sleep, we are forced to forget who we are, and in wakefulness, we willingly forget who we are. And spiritual life is all about staying awake. Uttisthata, Jagrata, Prapya, Varan, Nibodhata. Upanishads, this helpful book of wisdom or knowledge, reservoir of knowledge, the Upanishad, encourages us. Uttisthata. Always stay awake. Don't be lazy. Jagrata. Be aware. Don't zone off. Because prapya varan nibodhata. Get the maximum benefit from every opportunity that every single millisecond brings unto you. Be productive. Every single moment of your wakeful life, be productive. Prapya varan, this is the biggest blessing, benediction. One is able to use one's time very, very judiciously. Can there be a bigger benediction than that? Time is money, time is life, time is knowledge. So using our time very judiciously is the greatest of all blessings. Prapya varan nibodhata. So Kapila woke up. He saw that the lamp is burning brightly. The cat did not get anything to eat. The mice did not get anything to eat. Kapila is not going back home, so he is also not taken food. He's staying in the temple. Sunset to sunrise, all three of them did fasting. Kapila did fasting. The mice had to fast. The cat had to fast. The female mouse had to fast. And it happened to be the night of Kartiki Shukla Ekadashi. The Ekadashi of the bright moon night of the month of Kartik. Time passed. The female mouse died, having lived her life, whichever way. The cat died. Kapila lived a long life. And every Kartik, because he performed such wonderful services at the end of his life, as has been promised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he went back to Vaikuntha. He was liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Many years passed. And this village of Siddhashram was visited by a king tens upon hundreds of years, about not hundreds, but several decades later. The king of the country came to Siddhashram. He was very much charmed by the simplicity of the entire village and its surroundings. The king's name is Sudharmam. He came along with his wife, whose name is Rupa Sundari. Sudharmam and Rupa Sundari, they loved Siddhashram so much that they decided to make Siddhashram their capital. They put a lot of funds, and now the capital. How many of you are from Andhra Pradesh? Okay, so Siddhashram now becomes Amravati, the new capital. The king was very much loved by all of his subjects. The queen was revered as Queen Mother. Practically, they were full of all good qualities. One day, the king said, "My dear queen, it is a month of Kartik. I have to go and visit this Vishnu temple here in Siddhashram. And I want to light lamp." So there is some special consideration for lighting a lamp in the temple of the Lord, especially for those of us who come from the culture of Sanatan Dharma. There is this affinity towards lighting lamps. Now, because we have more resources, we try to use ghee lamps. But you know, if the weather is not really favorable, then the ghee becomes solid. Oil is always helpful. It's oil is very compliant compared to ghee. Ghee, you'll have to heat it up a little so that it becomes liquefied, and then, but oil is always compliant. So the king decided to have. So, what is this fascination for lamps? We have to have some intellectual, or let us say at least some justification for it. What is this fascination for lamps? Why is it that in Sanatan culture, in Vaishnava culture, why is it that lighting of lamps is so very important? So the justification has to come from our forefathers, because they gave it to us. You ask your parents why, they'll tell you just do it. This is what we were taught by our parents. You ask them, they'll say just do it. At the most, they'll go and they'll say that all right, you go and ask some scholar. But do it, light lamps. So somewhere in the past, our forefathers knew the justification for lighting lamps. And maybe they noted it down. They put it down on paper, maybe. So can we find some evidence like that? And fortunately for us, today who have gathered here, I have such an evidence. What our forefathers put down on paper, I have that evidence. Okay? So lighting of lamps is known as Dipa-seva. What is it called as? Dipa-seva. Okay? Or Dipa-dana. It is known as Dipa-dan. Dana means you offer in charity, you offer your time in charity, you offer your resources in charity. So Dipa-daana. You use your resources and make an offering of a lamp. So even our forefathers, today, few generations back, if you go back, you'll ask them, what is the language of communication? They'll say Telugu. Because it is Prakrit. So many dialects of Telugu, or Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Gujarati, Punjabi, Sanatan Dharma, wherever there's, oh, nowadays it's English too, English, Korean, Chinese. Sanatan Dharma is spread all over the planet now, all various countries. So the justification or the reasoning for lighting lamps comes from our forefathers. So we ask our forefathers, what was the language of communication? What was the language that was considered to be the language of the literate? And they would say Sanskrit. And we're like, oh my God, Sanskrit. So we'll have to take references from Sanskrit. Because that was the language of the literate. It is called as Deva Bhasha. Sanskrit is called as Deva Bhasha because Dev is that community of people that are literate. They are literate and they are honorable people. What is their honor in? Their honor is in keeping up good values. And there are others who are literate, but they give up their honor. They do not want to uphold good values. They are called as the asuras. So there are the devas and the asuras. Asuras are a community that are very literate, but they do not want to spend their energy in upholding good values. I mean, they may post it on WhatsApp, but they don't want to follow it in their lives. They may do that because everyone wants to keep up a pretense, isn't it? But the devas do not keep up a pretense. Who are the devas? They uphold good values in their lives, personally by applying it in their lives, and also try to uphold it in the community and in the society. They always stand by it. So a deva, if you ask a deva, what would you like to eat? The deva would say vegetarian. Why? And asura would say vegetarian. But if an asura gets an option, have you ever tried non-vegetarian food? I could try it. I mean, food is food. So no discrimination, although literate, will not use one's analytical power to understand why one should be a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian. You think we should speak on it for a few moments, vegetarian versus non-vegetarian? Okay. So, what is vegetarian diet? Vegetarian diet is that which is cultivator of the land. So, the land gives us products in two ways. One is in the form of fruits, berries, direct, already processed. And the other is that which we need to process. That is cultivation, correct? That is how the land gives us. The land gives us products in these two ways. So vegetarian diet comprises that which is made up of these products. Either that which has been already processed by nature or that which comes from nature and we need to process it by cooking it, by adding spices to it, etc., etc., etc. How many of us have studied biology? Some have idea of what biology is. How many have not studied? Please raise up your hands. Okay, those who have studied biology, please raise up. I did not. specified? Please raise up your hands. Biology. Okay, good. So I don't have to explain what is biology. So biologically, this body is made up of chemicals. True? Biologically, the body is made up of? What is the body made up of? Chemicals. And for these chemicals to sustain as a living force, we need nourishment. The nourishment is in terms of proteins, carbohydrates, minerals, vitamin, etc. True? Now, if nature processes a product, is nature going to ask me, sir, what do you need today? Do you need a little more carb? You need a little more protein? Will nature ask me? So if nature processes things, I'll have to take whatever comes with the processed product. Right? So for me to have a very nourishing diet, I should be able to also process it, cook it. Make sense? So nature, when it gives its processed product in terms of fruits, in terms of nuts, in terms of berries, it has already decided what are going to be the ingredients inside it. Make sense? Now, animals, when they subsist on these products, they also are not going to really understand what they need. Can they come up with their requirements? 30 grams of protein, 40 grams of carbs, vitamin D, a little more. Not really. Only humans can do it. So at least the processed foods that we eat, that which has been processed by nature, at least we know that it is coming unadulterated. Sure. When the animals eat it and process it and then we eat of their flesh, are we really sure that it will be unadulterated? Because when animals process it, there are a lot of other factors that are taken into consideration in terms of what are the genetic defects, in terms of do they have any chronic diseases. So nature's product, which has been processed by nature, is unadulterated. But when we consume animal flesh, those that are herbivorous animals, they do not get, there's no assurance of unadulteration. True? Now carnivores that feed on herbivores, if they eat meat, flesh, as carnivores, if they eat that, then they're already consuming that which is adulterated. And if humans eat flesh like that, do we understand what we are trying to do? We are trying to play the lottery with our health. So what is the best option for any intelligent human in terms of receiving nourishment that a human is aware of? Cultivate your own food. And in the language of the community that most of us come from, the Sanatan community, it is grow your own food, cook your own food, eat that which you have cooked. Because you are in complete control of how many carbs, how much proteins, how much vitamins, how much minerals should you have every single meal that you eat. Now in today's times, who is going to look into all of that? But previously, we did not have factories that put up labels on products that this is the content that is there. So from foragers in the forest, as soon as people became aware of biology in Sanatan community, they gave a lot of attention to cultivation. Now, right now, I'm subscribing, the way I'm presenting, I'm subscribing to certain schools that are very popular in India, such as Sadhguru, etc. Very logical, isn't it? Was there anything that we term as superstition? So isn't vegetarian diet, and that too, that which one has cultivated, one has cooked, the best diet? But if we are lazy, then we play the lottery. We trust somebody else, their produce. We trust someone else, what they have cooked. And after some time, we realize that there are so many scams that are happening all around us. Oh, the number of incidences of cancer is increasing, the number of incidences of, what is it called as, bad gut health is increasing, because we are not being careful about what our biological framework needs. We're not paying attention to it. We're just paying attention to a little piece of flesh here inside the mouth, in between 28 teeth, because 4G dentist always removes. You put your, what is that called as? The braces. So modern times, you cannot have more than 28. We'll have to change the concept that there are 32 teeth, and with the wisdom it is 33. We'll have to change that concept. Okay? So vegetarian versus non-vegetarian. Where did I come up with this concept? Asuras, Devas. So Devas, because they are literate, and Asuras also are literate, during their time frame of existence, they use the Sanskrit language. So in Sanskrit, it has been explained why we should light lamps. Yatha cha mathanad vahani sarvakashteshu drishyate तथा च दृश्यते धर्मो दीपदानेन संशयः. If you want fire in today's times, can you create fire without friction? Can you create fire without friction? Is it possible? If fire could be created without friction, then with rampant oxygen all around us and oxidation at the snap of fingers, without friction, everything would be on fire. So it is nature's arrangement that this oxidation will only take place in terms of the oxygen using up the energy in the form of fire, only takes place by friction. Now, you and I may use friction through lighters, because that is what the lighter does. It completes the circuit, and when the circuit is completed, it creates friction. Khatak. We may use matches, but our forefathers did not have that. So they would use sticks. Mathanad vahani. Vahani means sticks. Mathanad means rub against each other. How did our forefathers know what is fire? Because fire does not naturally exist in this creation. How did they know? Maybe it was just by chance. Maybe they were knowledgeable, but whichever way, they knew that by rubbing sticks together, you can create fire. So where does the fire come from? The rubbing of sticks creates heat. That heat, when it reaches a particular temperature, that temperature is sufficient for oxygen to interact, for oxidation to take place. Chemistry, we've all studied chemistry. Did we pay so much attention to this? How chemistry works in rubbing of sticks? So where does the fire come from? It comes from the quality of sticks. If the sticks did not have the quality of creating heat when they were rubbed together, fire would not be created. So our forefathers, the scriptures, they have noted down in what we call as scriptures. They say, Sarva kashteshu drishyate. If we want to see the fire that is aprakat, that is not visible within the sticks, then it will become visible if you rub the sticks together. Similarly, dharma, if you want to know what is dharma, tathacha drishyate dharmo. If you want to understand what is dharma, Dipa-danena sanshaya. Without Dipa-dan, you'll never ever understand the principles of dharma without Dipa-dan. Because light is that which gives you, we are not nocturnal beings. We do not have, what is that? At night visions, we do not have night vision. We have day vision. Therefore, for us to understand things, we can understand through knowledge, but that knowledge is only relevant when there is light around. In darkness, knowledge is irrelevant. Unless and until you get night vision goggles, it is irrelevant because everything seems dark, unknown. It is not distinguishable. So light helps in your understanding. Deeper is what helps you in that understanding. But understanding how we have to coexist, that needs intelligence, and for coexistence, intelligence has to deliberate on sharing, sacrifice, hence dana. So the act of Deepa dana is very, very deeply rooted in the principle of knowledge. So every time, because throughout the day there are so many activities that we perform, there's nothing that can instigate the need to be in knowledge. Everything that we do is simply to receive. What benefit I can get, what benefit I can get, what benefit I can get. It is only for bhoga, for wanting to enjoy. But sacrifice is what makes you analyze. What is it that I can give? Because to receive, others have to give. Since I have the need to receive, they also must be having the need to receive. I may have to give. So if I understand that my giving is important, when that thing is taken away from me, I will not feel pain. I will willingly give it. It will be dhan. It will be charity. So Deepadanam cha samshaya. Deepadanam, without Deepadana, that would not have been possible. Hence our elders, hence our forefathers put it down in the form of scriptures. Every day do Deepa Dan. Alright. Now, Sudharmam and Rupa Sundari. Month of Kartik, we want to go and light lamps. They go to the temple. And Sudharmam tells his wife, I want to let you on a secret. I have not told anyone. I'll tell you. I can remember my past life. His wife is, oh really? Yeah. In my past life, I was a cat. This very temple, I was living as a cat. And during the month of Kartik, in the evenings, I would have nice feast. Because there would be so many mice that would come to eat the sweets made as an offering to Lord Vishnu. So I would jump on them and the mice would run away. Unknowingly, I was protecting the offering made to Lord Vishnu. And because of that unknowingly the service that I did, I got a human form of life. I got the life of a king because I did it in Kartik. And I became King Sudharma. This, my dear queen, is the powerful benediction of doing service in the month of Kartik, especially making offerings, Naivedya offerings to the Lord. I protected it. Queen Roop Sundari said, "Oh my God, I'm so fortunate that I have a husband who has such a track record. This was not there on your profile when I went on shadi.com. I'm so fortunate. My dear husband, I also have a little secret." He said, "You do?" "Yes, I can also remember my past life. In my past life, I was a female mouse right here in this temple." The cat is like, "Oh my God." I was a female mouse in this temple. And on Kartik Shukla Ekadashi, I was so hungry. Now I realize you were the cat that was chasing all of us away. I was so hungry. And the lamp was dying down. So I ran in the little dim light, I ran towards the altar to eat something. But I was confused. There was so much to eat. So I went round and round and round, and I suddenly hit against the lamp that was dying down. And the lamp burst into flames. It got reignited. There's light everywhere. Then you came jumping. Then the gentleman awoke. I ran away. But because I lit the lamp for Lord Vishnu as a mouse, unknowingly, I lit a lamp for Lord Vishnu. I got the benediction of having my next birth as a queen. And because I lit the lamp up, I made it brighten up. I was given beauty that brightens up everyone's existence. When they see me, they are simply happy seeing such a beautiful form. I became Roop Sundari and I got you as my husband. Sudharmam and Rupa Sundari, they said, "Why are we wasting our life?" Sudharmam said, "All right, I'll put my nephew as the king, both of us. Now we should, just like Kapila did in his last life, we remember from our last life that saintly person, he and his wife would practice in Kartik, offering lamps, doing service. Let us do that." Rup Sundari said, "Yes, let us do that." And they dedicated the rest of their lives to serving Lord Vishnu at the temple. And at the end of the life, they went back to Vaikuntha. So, there is a benediction given for those who specially in Kartik dedicate themselves to lighting a lamp to Lord Vishnu every single day. And I want you to repeat after me that benediction. Mantrahinam kriyahinam sauchahinam janardane sarvam sampurnatam yati kartike deepadanatah. So Kartike Dina Danatah. In Kartik, if one offers a lamp every single day to Lord Janardhan, here Krishna is called as Janardhan. Janardhan means the real well-wisher of all Janas, all living entities. If one lights a lamp every single day, Deepadana for Lord Janardhan, especially in the month of Kartik, this will be very helpful. Even if mantrahinam, we have absolutely no interest in doing mantra upasana for the rest of the year. Doesn't matter. Mantrahinam. We are like a grandfather did. All I need to seek is take blessings from grandfather. Mother, father, what is in Telugu? Because in Hindi it is माँ पिता का आशीर्वाद, दादा दादी का आशीर्वाद, something like that. We don't want to do it. They did it, so we feel that, oh, they did it. It's enough for all of us. For next seven generations, it's enough. Mantrahinam, kriyahinam. We have absolutely no desire to serve other people. Sometimes we do it, but generally we will not do it. To go and help others out of the way, sometimes we'll do it, generally we'll not do it. Danam, we don't do dana, charity. So kriyahinam. Sauchahinam, cleanliness. We find reasons why we could not take a bath that day. There was no water. I was traveling. Sauchahinam. Saucha means cleanliness. So seems very relevant for our existence today, right? So if we are in that situation, mantrahinam, not really having a practice of mantra upasana, doing mantras every day, chanting holy names every day. Kriyahinam, dana, tapa, austerity, sacrifices, not really into it. Sauchahinam, cleanliness. I mean, it takes an effort to be clean. Even if we take a bath, we just turn off the shower, 2 minutes, we are out. The towel, sometimes it feels, why do I even exist? I'm supposed to be wet after you wipe yourself. The towel sometimes is half dry after you come out of the shower. The towel is wondering, what about my punya? Sauchahinam. So, with respect to Lord Janardhan, if this is our approach, there's still hope. Sarvam Sampurnatam Yati. All of this is fulfilled. All the benefits of being clean, of doing good sadhana, of being a good charitable person, etc., 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 all of that is fulfilled. Kartike Dipa-danata. If in Kartik you offer a lamp to Lord Janardhan. Now Kartik comes every year, so it has to be every year. It cannot be just one Kartik in a lifetime. So every year if you do that, then, and typically if you do it every year, you'll get inspiration to do it every month, every single day. Okay? Something very, very relevant for most of you because you are all nice people. This is another benediction. Kartike Deepadanena. Please repeat. Yastoshyati Keshavam Muktim Prapsyamahe Nunam Prasada Chakrapanina. When our forefathers, they see, oh, someone in my family is pleasing Lord Keshav by offering him a lamp during the month of Kartik, then by the mercy of Lord Chakrapani, the one who holds the Sudarshan disc in his hand, we will achieve liberation. So if you are inclined to feel some kind of affinity, attachment, respect, etc., 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 for your forefathers, for your pitars, then this is nice Pitra-seva. In the month of Kartik, every single day light a lamp, and when you're lighting lamps, someone who has got access to the cameras here is watching online. You're offering lamps, and they are our forefathers. They're like sitting in their rocking chair, seeing us offering lamps. They're like, now we are liberated. They become so happy, and they give you a lot of blessings. And final prayer, Vaishnavo na samantavya Samprapte Kartike Mune Yanno Yachati Mudhatma Deepam Keshava Satmani. A fool who does not light a lamp unto Lord Keshav in the month of Kartik can never be a Vaishnava, cannot be considered to be a Vaishnava. So it is a sacred duty of Vaishnavas to light a lamp unto Lord Keshava in the month of Kartik. So this is the wonderful benediction of lighting lamps in the month of Kartik. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any clarifications?
Dipa-dana, Dipa-seva. Tulad.
So Dipa-dana and Dipa-seva.
Dipa-seva we call. You are telling Dipa-dana.
The verses are saying Dipa-dana. So when we do Dipa-seva, it may be just us offering lamps. But Dipa-dana is where we offer lamps and we also assist someone else to offer lamps. How do we do that? Either we give them lamps, we help them to also offer lamps, or simply ask them, please touch my right arm. So Dipa-dana is an act where we offer ourselves in service of others unto Lord Keshav. That is Dipa-dana. And Dipa-seva is where we offer ourselves in service to Lord Keshav. Is that all right? Anything else? Let's stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. So now we'll have Deepdan with singing.